Hello everyone. This video is about deploying to Korra, and we're going to deploy obfuscated code to Korra. So the Korra, the fully qualified domain name, FQDN for Korra, is Dawson College, korra.dawsoncollege.qc.ca. So first we're going to obfuscate some code, then we're going to change the HTML to use it, and then we're going to transfer it to Korra, and then we're going to test it. So let's start with obfuscation. So if you need to install it, what you can do is you can Google vscode and JSObfuscator, and then you just click on install and it should launch vscode and install it there. I already have it installed. I don't think we need to show you that, so you just have to make sure it's installed first. Here you see my proof of concept for assignment 1. So in it I have my CSS, I have my index.html, and I have my JavaScript. So what I want to do, I've already got obfuscator installed, so now what I want to do is I want to obfuscate my script. So I hit Control-Shift-P, so that's Control-Shift-P, and it will give me this menu, and I've used this recently. I didn't even need to type it in. So what it does is, as you can see here, it generates obfuscated code. So as you can see, this code, you can't tell what's going on. So that's what we want to deploy. We don't want to deploy our clear text. So this is one of the layers of security that you can apply to JavaScript. And whenever you deploy to Korra, you're going to have to use this. So since I'm going to deploy to Korra and I want to use this, I have to change my HTML. So what I need to do here is I have to put in the name of the obfuscated JavaScript. So I'm not going to transfer tables.js to, I'm not going to deploy it to my server. I'm only going to deploy the obfuscated one. And here I'll be referencing it. So now I make sure to save that. Save all. So now I've saved it and it should deploy to Korra. So now I'm going to use FileZilla. Hopefully you're a little familiar with FileZilla. We're going to use it for SFTP. So what I do here, I'm just going to use the quick connect. Korra dot. I'm going to use my username, which is just a user that I created, a test user, and type in the password. And then I do quick connect. So what's happening here is that it's trying to connect to this IP address, which is Korra, on port 21. Port 21 is the FTP address. So what this tells me is that I've forgotten, and this should time out. We'll give it a second. There you see it timed out. So we don't want it to retry because what's happened here is I have forgotten to put in the port of 22. We want to use the same port as SSH because that's the only thing allowed on this system. So now that we've got the port, instead of using the default of 21, it should try to connect to 22. So let's see what happens. And there we go, it authenticated. So authenticating is validating the user ID password in this case. And here I have my directory for Catherine, for this user. You will have one too. And I have a www directory. So on this server, we're running Nginx. It's a Linux server, Debian running Nginx, which is a web server. And we put our content in www. So in your home directory, you'll have something called www. Anything you put in there will be seen on the web. So I'm going to show you how that happens. But now what I want to do is I want to transfer my data, my website. So I pasted in the location of my data, and I'm going to hit enter, my website. And here you see my index.html. That's good. The scripts. I don't want to transfer my table.js, or I'm going to delete it. I think I'll transfer it and delete it. So what I want to do is I want to transfer all of this over to my web server under the www directory. But I have to be sure that I delete tables.js. So I just did it the easy way. I could have created my directories and transferred each file, but what I did was just transferred everything, and then I delete the one that I don't want. So I don't want the clear text JavaScript. So if I look at my www, there I've got index.html, I've got my styles directory, my scripts directory. So now we've done the first two steps. We've obfuscated the code, we changed the HTML to use it, we transferred it to Korra. Now we have to test it. So I'm going to test it. So what I've done is I've typed in HTTPS. So Korra will only accept secure connections, so it needs the HTTPS. And some browsers by default put HTTP. So I made sure it's secure, SSL, or TLS. Host name, tilde, and then my user ID. So my user ID that I'm testing with is Catherine J. So let's let's click on this and see what we get. And there we go, we see my table generator. So now the problem with this is that it's working, but I've put it in the wrong spot because it loads automatically. And I'm going to put other things here. So what I want to do is I want to make a directory called assignment1 and move it. So I can either do that by shelling into the box and moving it, or I can just do that through FileZilla. So here, as you see, FileZilla, because index.html is in the top of the tree, it's going to load automatically. So what I want to do is I want to put it into assignment1. So what I have to do here is I have to make a new directory, create a directory. We're going to call it assignment1. I should have done this first. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of this to assignment1. So instead what I should have done was create this first and then transfer everything into it, but that should have fixed it. So let's go see what happens if I reload my website. So if I reload my website, I now see assignment1, and when I click on assignment1, I see my content. So it's better to do it this way because we're going to have other things on here. So assignment1 now contains my content. So as I said, I did that through my SFTP window, but I can shell in and do it, or I can do whatever I prefer. But the best way to do it was, so for the next time, let's say I have an assignment 2, what I'm going to do is create a new directory, assignment 2, and then I am going to copy the content over to assignment 2. So let's click on assignment 2, make that my directory. Let's pretend this is assignment 2, and I'll copy it over here. So it's better to make the directory first. That's what I just did. And then let's reload this. So I'm in assignment 1. Let's go back to the top of the tree, and now I have assignment 2. So I've got assignment 1 and assignment 2. So it's better to make the directory first. But if you make a mistake, you can always fix it. There's always a way to fix it. So now that I'm finished, what I want to do is I want to just shut down FileZilla and break the connection, and I'm all good to go. So that's it. That's how to deploy to Korra. You should have received an email that has your user ID and password for Korra, so you can do this whenever you want. That's it. Thank you.